immediate explosion of the tank car shook our house. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. "31 cars from a Canadian Pacific train derailed approximately 500 feet from my backyard. 7 of them completely emptied their contents of anhydrous ammonia, anywhere in the number of 260 to 280,000 gallons of anhydrous. We were not evacuated from our homes until about 6 to 7 hours after the time of the train derailment, because they could not get in the area to get us because the cloud, the ammonia, was so thick you could not see your hand in front of your face. Most of us were displaced out of our homes 8 to 11 weeks. My health has suffered in the last 4.5 years, my wife and my daughter and son. We're very angry. It's something I would not wish upon any individual ever, and I hope it never happens again."
There have been a number of deaths, and derailments have caused a lot of injuries, and that concern is one that I think people all through South Dakota and in Minnesota ought to be concerned about.
There was a train derailment right behind my hotel just several months ago. It was just a little grain train, and 3 cars derailed to the north, so it didn't slide down the hill and into my building. But if that happens with one of these larger, heavier, filthier trains, it's environmentally, it's going to be a nightmare for the town.
We're worried about the safety of people who are trying to get to our hospital. We're worried about ambulances not being able to get there. We're worried about our employees. We're worried about things that might fall over, things that might happen, things that might spill from DM&E. Safety is what we're worried about.
The DM&E, based upon my evaluation, and I evaluate railroads my entire professional career, it's one of the worst I have ever seen, statistics-wise. Whatever criterion you use, they rank among the worst of any carrier in the country in their class. I classify this railroad as a poster child for how not to operate a railroad safely. Whatever criterion you use, it's just unsafe at any speed.
A derailment that would involve a rail car that carried some highly toxic chemical that, if it was released, could have the potential for creating a plume that would engulf our downtown area. And we know that the people that are within that hot zone, that the likelihood of them suffering life-threatening, if not life-ending conditions is very high. And aside from spills, there's always the increased incidence and probability of accidents with other vehicles that may be crossing the tracks as well.
The DM&E project doesn't make sense from a practical point of view because you're asking the United States government to spend $2.5 billion of our tax money to supplement a railroad that is worth $100 million. This loan will never be paid back according to Bearing Point. And you use public money for public services. This is not a public service. It's a private enterprise. They want to make money on a railroad? Have at it. Go raise private money. You can be in the railroad business too.
We did a fairly straightforward analysis of the DM&E's own projections. We took the volume projections, what they expected to ship as presented in their STB application, and then we applied market rates to that, using today's market environment, what they could earn on what they're shipping. When we did that analysis, we came to a conclusion that there's no way in the current market environment that the DM&E could repay the loan. If the loan can't be repaid, then basically you're just giving DM&E the money.
Mr. Schieffer told us many times, told the press, various things about the financing. One, that all they had to do was pick and choose among the people that were lined up that wanted to provide the financial support. He made a statement one time that I remember very clearly to us in a group that if this couldn't be funded by private enterprise, it shouldn't be done.
I don't see western South Dakota benefiting by being plugged up with 34 mile-and-a-half long coal trains 24/7, 365. I don't see that happening. I don't see the benefit in it. Nobody can tell me that once the DM&E is hauling 100-car coal trains, 34 of them down this line, that he's going to have any room to stick in passenger service, which he's now trying to profess, or bentonite, wheat, wood chips, any of the other things that they haul out of here. He's going to be making his money on coal. It's a single-issue railroad.
We just feel that this is an unnecessary project, that the coal from the Powder River Basin is making it to the markets the way it is with Burlington Northern, Santa Fe, and their south route. And that basically DM&E has no reason to take this amount of land to actually duplicate a process that's already happening. The damage that it's going to do to the ranches and to the wild lands is just unfathomable.
Well, the Landowner Advisory Committee was a group that Schieffer established quite a while ago, basically to tell people what the landowners were going to want and so on. He took only people who were more or less in favor of the railroad, and many of those people believed that they had to be in favor of it because they had no choice.
I've been with Kevin Schieffer. I knew him pretty well before. He was a friend of mine. Been around him quite a bit. But after a while, you start to learn how smooth he is in saying things that look one way, that you can't pin him down on what the real point was. I call it spin. And after a while, the spin becomes more and more clear that it's lies. They're not true. And where I come from, hopefully, there's still a little honesty and integrity and truth. I don't see any in that DM&E railroad.